Good evening, everybody. We got here a 1v1 between Villese and Nicov, two top-level players playing on Arabia. Let's get right into it. We do have in the blue playing as the Mongols, Villese, and his enemy, Nicov, playing as the Poles in the red. Two powerhouse civilizations, and two civilizations that can really take on any other civ in the game. Let's take a look at the maps, as both of them look like they've got a pretty good closed off map. I don't like the forward berries for Nicov. That does just make it a little bit awkward to gather further down in the game, but beautiful back gold here and easy wall off on this left/northern side. On the other side, a little bit more open, but not impossible to wall in. Might just wall into the town center rather than all the way around these wood lines. And then Villese, his enemy, another very similar map. That's one thing that the devs have really done a great job with, is leveling out the maps between players. So we do see quite an easy wall off here. Actually, what a beautiful wood line that is. So really easy on this side as well, and a little bit more open on the other side. So likely we'll see just a wall into the town center if we do see one at all. And of course, back gold for Villese. So that could lead to a little bit better time in the Castle Age. And of course, Villese is playing as the Mongols, so we do see that hunt already starting to get pushed in. That's one of the big advantages of the Mongols. They do have such a fast bonus getting to the next age when they can bring in deer and boars, and it just gives them a huge advantage. So second deer is already being pushed in, and in the meantime, we do have Nicov scouting around and taking a look where he can. So both players mostly focused on their own economy right now, trying as hard as they can to get any sort of advantage that they can right off the bat. And now Nicov starting to move out. He wants to see where the enemy is. Of course, knowing that the enemy is playing as the Mongols, it always puts you on a bit of a higher alert, because you can expect that super fast feudal age into a scout rush, and that can be just crippling. And then with the Mongols, they have that huge power spike early on, and then they get into that little bit of a divot. And then as the game progresses, they get stronger. So the game will have to be played out in such a way that each player can use their bonuses at the right times, and whatever player is capable of doing so will definitely be the one that wins this game. Of course, a full work is up on the berries, so that will give a little bit of an advantage once the farms start coming out, but again, just a little bit awkward with the way that the walling will come in, as Villese is going to come right into the enemy's base and notices the full work, notices the house, so he knows not to run any further in. I was worried he might go straight into the town center. Meanwhile, Nicov has spotted the barracks for the enemy and sees that the militia are going to be on the way out. Already both players are up to the next stage. That is such a fast uptime they are capable of achieving. So a little bit quicker for the Mongol player of Villese, but both players are on their way up and are going to be able to get a little bit of aggression out, as they will have a barracks on the field by the time they hit the next age. So the walls are starting with these berries. Will be a pretty easy wall off, and choosing to just wall this little pocket rather than all the way across. While that does allow for a little bit more control within the berry patch, it also does help because it doesn't get any villagers trapped and put out of position should there be a loop around or scouts later on in the match. So Nicov has chosen to just go for little walls rather than a full wall off. Obviously a little bit less effective chopping wood. As you can see, they're all bumping into one another, wasting a little bit of time on every single piece of wood that gets chopped. So Not ideal, but definitely better than losing a villager. And I say losing a villager just as Nicov loses his scout. That is a big deal right off the bat to lose your scout. There's militia in your back and you don't know exactly where they are. Archery range is already getting dropped for both of these players, so we will have archers out and the archers will be able to engage against the militia, but that scout still being alive is a really big deal for Villese. He can continue to scout around the map, take a look, see if the enemy is attacking anywhere, see if the enemy is capable of pushing out. One archer will be enough to clean up the militia, but right now Villese has a very big lead. That bonus, that speed to get up to the next stage, and getting that little bit of a bonus against the enemy's scout really made a big difference. And as you can see, just a little bit of head for everything. Fletching is already in, and the archers are forward. So fletching not yet in for Nicov. He does have the numbers advantage in this little engagement. He gets a couple free shots, but now he's a little bit behind. He's got 2 archers on his front. Fletching not yet in. He needs 15 more seconds before he can get really a good engagement, and he's going to just kind of waste time in the meantime and play around with the enemy militia. But these archers are in. Fletching is in now, and the villagers even engaging a little bit, getting a couple of shots out while they can. And these militia will fall, but in the meantime, they're soaking up. Even a couple hits will be enough to distract and allow the archers and skirmisher behind to take the engagement. Good play there by Villese. Villese so far has played this game perfectly to a T. This is exactly how you want to play the Mongols. That early aggression, get the hunt in as soon as you can, and then start pushing on the enemy, because the longer the feudal age goes, the less that little bonus is going to help out. Even forcing a watchtower on this forward berry is not a good situation to be in if you are Nicov. So that watchtower, it will go up, but wow, what a big distraction. What a big spend in resources. And really, it's all for just berries, which are not, all things considered, not all that important as we get further into the game. Not much food is left on this berry patch. In the meantime, Nicov has walled off behind, and I should mention, Villese has 2, and he has been untouched at home, and he is going to continue to increase whatever advantages he already has. So the walls will be here when he loops around, trying to get around and get some more engagements, but it looks like Nicov has weathered the storm. He is definitely behind at this point in time as far as wasted economy, but not so far behind that he can't keep up. It's anyone game still, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens next as the walls are coming out all the way across for Nicov. He is going to wall to the edge of the map, possibly, if nothing else, at least to that wood line. And this watchtower ends up being very protective on the front. He's safe on this other side, and he has snuck a few villagers in. So now it is Villese's turn to waste his resources. So he's got some villagers running around in circles, bumping into each other on the wood line. Same sort of deal. Even some town center wasted time, as you can see, they had to garrison, they had to move around, lots of bumping into one another, lots of delays, and trying to get this wall off done to trap this army. And he actually will trap the army, so this army will die, and in the meantime they have another engagement, and it looks like Nicov's losing that one as well. These 2 skirmishers just going to try and run around, get whatever they can. But great response from Villese. Lots of wasted time running back and forth. You never want to run from one side of your map to the exact opposite side of your map, but all things considered, not too bad. When we take a look at Nikov's scouting, he might think this is to the edge of the map, but that is a big assumption to think that the wood line goes that far. So he is not fully walled at this point in time, and that might come back to bite him. But as of now, it is not priority number 1, 2, or 3, as the fights are right on the front. Both of these players are capable of making it against any other player in the entire world, and so either one can pull it off, and just one mistake can throw an entire game at this level. Look at how messy this wood line is. Would love to see a little bit of movement to another wood line later on in the game, but we'll have to wait for that at this point in time. The military advantage is definitely in favor of Villese, as it has been for much of the game. This archery range even looking like it's going to be denied right now, so just more delays, more little bits and pieces, and this is really how Villese wants to win this game. Just whittle away the enemy here and there, don't make any mistakes, and win not on one big push that's 50-50, but ensure that when that push comes out, you can win it. And so Nicov is on the way up to the castle age. He's hoping that he can hold off long enough now that he's down to only a few military on the field. But this is a tale as old as time, as we often see it. One player going heavier into feudal, and a little window where that feudal age army is the advantage, but that window gets cut short as the enemy is on the way up to the next stage. So both players will be up, but there will be a minute and a half in which Nicov will have the advantage. What can he do with that minute and a half, and what will he do? And in the meantime, what will Villese's response be? And his response is running away, and this is the problem with a lot of archers in your army. When you come against skirmishers, it's just so hard to engage. So elite skirmisher immediately comes in along with bodkin arrow, but there's a little bit of a secret, and that is a stable coming up for the Mongol player. A stable, I mean, one knight, maybe even two knights could destroy this entire army. No problem about it. In the meantime, back at home, Nicov has had a little bit of a repair of his economy, and he has spotted that the stable is here. He knows the stable's there, so he knows he needs to worry about cavalry coming out, and Nikov's going to go for a little bit more of an economy push. He's adding his second town center, going to be trying to get a villager lead, build up those resources while he has the advantage. He knows he's got the military advantage. He knows he's got the enemy on the run, and the knight will be coming out, and these two knights will be able to clean up the entire army, especially with how split up it is. And so crossbow is coming in for Nicov, making that switch, adding a few crossbows to the mix will be able to at least allow for an engagement against the knights. So 4 archers currently on the field with all of these skirmishers, but a couple of knights are just going to be so tough for him to engage against. As the second town center comes up on this gold, that's going to be a good position. Protects this south side where he is vulnerable. And in the meantime, one archer just being a pain, being annoying, and attacking on this wood line. I don't know if Villese really has a response yet, but there we go. Skirmisher will take out that archer, no problem. And the first 2 knights are running across the field. And what will they choose to do? Well, they're going to go straight at it. So 3 knights, not quite enough yet. And so Nicov, he sees the knights, he knows there's knights, he's making a monastery. But knights and mangonel going to be so tough for him to engage against. As we have another villager coming forward, we still have archers on the field for Villese, but he is primarily switched over to cavalry. And he's actually got quite a few on the field right now. He has 7 knights right now, and he's going to be able to run underneath this tower no problem, because he does already have +2 defense on these knights. So The siege workshop is being built, and the walls are up. They're all reinforced by houses, so it's not just a palisade wall. So Nicov is going to try to boom it out. He's making sure that he keeps an economy going, and he makes sure that he gets whatever advantage he can. Villese, of course, in response, is adding in that second town center. He needs to know that the enemy must be building up economy. This army is not big enough to not have a big economy behind it. When we take a look, Nicov 10 villagers ahead, and that lead is going to continue to grow if he continues to produce out of all three of these town centers. Right now, he's trying his best to keep that town center production up. Not quite enough farms to keep 3 town centers going at all times, plus upgrades, but he's going to start to work towards it. As a scout comes out, interesting move actually to send the scout out, just running around right now. Not sure if that's the best unit to be engaging with, but we'll get some visibility of what's going on out in the field as a castle goes up. Very, very defensive, this castle, but there's not too much else that can be done. This mangonel is in such a position to either... It could flip this game in no matter of seconds. This is the problem when you have so many skirmishers and archers. Even with the monks, it's so risky. And a good hit, but not perfect. And able to do a little bit of damage with that mangonel, but not quite enough. But Nicov now is on the back foot. He has his army up front. He knows he has to wait it out, but he is just going to sit back and allow the enemy to walk a little bit further in before he starts to engage. He has monks in the back, and they are safe. That's 3 monks, of course. And redemption is in. And so this mangonel, will it get converted? It does get converted. Both of them do. And a shot goes off, but it doesn't take out the second mangonel. So good engagement. Great move to add redemption there. Really allows for those monks to combat these mangonels in a way that they otherwise couldn't with just crossbows and skirmishers. So what is next? Well, for Nicov, what's next is expanding the economy. He wants to get his economy really booming up and as strong as possible, and he wants to hold off as long as possible. And in the meantime, Villese is doing the same, expanding out, collecting up this gold over here, and wanting to keep the push going as we are seeing the unique upgrade coming in for the Poles. And the mangonel shot, is this the shot? No, it's not. I thought that might be it. It's so close every time with these mangonels against this sort of army, and it's just that little dance. One mistake from either side can turn the tide immediately, and that's really where this game is at. Either player loses these armies, the game is pretty much over. Now both players are expanding their economy at 94 villagers though. Big advantage for Nicov. So trying to get some conversions. If he can convert a couple of knights, he might be able to pick off the mangonel, because the mangonel is scaring him right now. And he has cleared off the front of his base. He can breathe a little sigh of relief. As Villese, this is an interesting place for a castle. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I guess it does protect this entire side of the map, but I would have liked it to have been a little bit more aggressive just with the way that he was playing. I would have liked it to have been a little bit further forward or even more centralized here. This hill to protect this gold, something like that. No good mangonel shots were able to get in for Nicov and or against Nicov, and Nicov even converting the houses now. So making sure that the enemy doesn't really have any advantages. So Villese's response to this is a 4th town center, of course. With his 4th town center already with 88 population, this town center is not necessarily for big economy. It's more so to make sure that he has a safe economy. The castle too. This is exactly where I think Velez should have put his castle up. This would have been such a great location for a castle, and it just gives such a big outreach for Nicov. It protects this wood line, this gold, this wood, and then the entire west side of the map. So this castle at this point in time not doing too much other than the most important thing, of course, that a castle can do for the Mongolians, and that is create the Mangadai. And in the meantime, a castle going up on this side. This castle should make it up, but it's going to actually be a lot tighter than it should be, as the knights are in for the enemy, but the knights are in as well for Velez. So big push here starting for Nicov. Both players will have their eyes on the Imperial Age, but Nikov's just that much faster. So Nicov has done a fantastic job. Both of these players have done a great job. The only issue is neither player has made a mistake yet. And that's what both of them were really waiting on. This castle getting a few free shots, and ballistics is on the way for Velez as the knights are attacking the university. I don't know if they'll fully take it down. It looks like the knights of Velez are going to be coming out in response, and a castle coming up again. Very safe castle. I would have liked it a little bit more forward, but he's just not in the position to be able to make those forward castles and make them work. Ballistics doesn't go up and the university goes down. That is such a big time waster too. Ballistics takes so long to research. It's just such a pain for him to have to deal with now. But the Mangadai are starting to add up. He's got the knights in front. Mangadai just very strong, very tanky, and just so quick. As they will be caught out. One Mangadai will be picked off, no problem about it. But we start to see both players will be settling out the number of villagers that they have. Both players are very close up to the Imperial Age, but it will be just a little bit of an advantage for Nicov as the fights will start. Once the Imperial Age comes, though, we start to see totally different upgrades. We'll see Cavalier come in, no doubt about it, but we might also start to see those Mangonels get upgraded and really see some big shots coming in, and that's what I hope for. As both players now are in the Imperial Age, immediately Arbalest and Bracer comes in for Nicov, and Velez starts out with Bracer and Chemistry. So both players prioritizing their archers, prioritizing their range units above the melee units on the front. +2 defense for both of the players, but +1 attack as well for Velez. As the army of knights dives under the town center, this many knights could take out a town center, will definitely pick off a lot of villagers in the back, and Velez calls it. That game was so close at so many stages. I thought for sure Velez would be able to outlast or outmaneuver the enemy, but just a perfect example of sitting back, playing defensively, and playing calmly, not showing your hands and not overdoing any maneuvers. Great play by Nicov to really show the strength of patience.